Edmonton, Alberta's United Conservatives' second speech from the throne held steady on the rhetoric and policies that Premier Jason Kenney has been pitching since before he was even elected to office. As the rest of the country roils under railway blockades and sustained protests against a natural gas pipeline in British Columbia, the throne speech delivered by the province's Lieutenant Governor was a relatively careful and measured document, a path the government has laid out in order to confront some of the biggest challenges the province has ever faced. While following in the footsteps of the first throne speech, heavily focused on economic renewal, it was absent the fire-spitting that has animated Kenney's public remarks in recent days. "My government will do everything it can to reduce unacceptably high levels of unemployment, and get people back to work," said Lieutenant Governor Lois Mitchell. The throne speech, delivered Tuesday afternoon at the Alberta Legislature, comes 2 days before the UCP is to introduce its second budget, with the theme, "Our overarching goal is to make life better for Albertans." In that context, the throne speech highlighted many of the things this government has already done to boost the economy, such as cutting the corporate tax rate and eliminating what it calls red tape to spur investment. It also referenced some of the other social policies, such as spending on mental health care, and announced new ones, such as preventing sex offenders from changing their names and tougher sanctions against impaired driving. The government hinted it will directly invest money in resource companies, a strategy used by Peter Lougheed in the 1980s. Speaking to reporters Tuesday morning, Kenney suggested plans were already in the works on that front. There would also be a new investment promotion agency to pump up Alberta in international markets. Tuesday's speech comes after a rollicking few days in Canada. On Sunday, the province was dealt a major blow with the announcement that Teck Resources was shelving plans for its frontier megamine in northern Alberta. Then, on Monday, the government won a phase in its legal fight against the carbon tax, a much reviled Justin Trudeau policy. "Our overarching goal is to make life better for Albertans in the context of protests against the Coastal GasLink pipeline in BC. The Alberta government also announced a plan to stamp out any such protests in Wild Rose Country. In a speech on Monday, Kenney announced that Bill 1 would provide for fines and jail time for anyone who disrupts critical infrastructure in Alberta. Recently, he called the protests against the Coastal GasLink pipeline a dress rehearsal for the contentious Trans Mountain expansion pipeline from the Edmonton, Alta, area to Burnaby, BC, a project that the government and energy industry see as key to maintaining investor confidence and to the success of the energy sector, ultimately worth tens of billions of dollars to the Alberta economy. The throne speech promised that attempts to shut down the industry would not succeed. "We will not surrender global energy markets to dictatorships that spread conflict and extremism around the world," said Mitchell. The speech ended with one of the major themes of Kenney's premiership, a fair deal for Alberta within the Canadian Federation, including allowing for citizen-initiated referenda on any subject, and the replacement of the federal parole board with a provincial one. To Kenney's supporters, "I would say be careful what you wish for." Rachel Notley, the NDP leader and former premier, commented there was little in the throne speech that focuses on jobs. "This is not a good news throne speech for Albertans at all," Notley said. She thinks the bill Kenney introduced to put an end to illegal protest would have applied to the Conservative United We Roll convoy that headed to Ottawa last year in support of the energy industry. "It could actually be expanded to a whole different group of people, pretty much anybody this government doesn't agree with," Notley cautioned. "So, to Kenney's supporters, I would say be careful what you wish for. As for the Lougheed-style investments," she said, "we honestly don't know what it is they're talking about, raising the possibility of using tax money to prop up businesses the private sector is abandoning. I would be very troubled by that," she said. Email, Dawson@postmedia.com, Twitter, Tyler Dawson. Let's block ads. Why?